Hi, I'm Jenny McLeod with Weens and Roth Real Estate, and we have Jacob Bose here from Union Home Mortgage. And we're going to be talking today how to maximizing your sale and some of the strategies to make it successful, to get the best price, and how to sell it fast. So let's talk a little bit today about what some of your biggest challenges you're currently facing and what you're expecting in your home sale.
The biggest thing is it's sitting on the market, right? That's what you want to avoid. If you're a seller, you want it to sell quick and you want to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible.
Yep. And I think that's one of the biggest questions people are facing right now is how long is it going to take me to sell? I
Mhm.
mean, the last few years it was, things were gone in like 2 weeks, very, very quickly. But now the average days on market is actually about 67 days for a home here in Monroe County.
Wow.
Looking at condos, they're more like 98 days on market. So definitely things have shifted a little bit. We've also seen some increased inventory as well. So one of the big things here in to understand the market, and we've kind of just touched on that a little bit,
Mhm.
is knowledge is power. So when we go to list your home, understanding what that looks like and understanding what's out there for competition and things kind of really helps us decide where to price the home. As I mentioned, it's about 47 days on the market for residential houses right now, and about 96 for condos. Right now, we're still seeing a pretty good list to sales price ratio. We're seeing about 98%, which to me, I think that's pretty good. When you take the average of every home out there, not everything sells for the list price, but we're also seeing a lot of stuff that's selling for above asking still. Not as common as we were before, seeing like very high offers. But we are still seeing on some of those homes, homes that are getting a little bit over asking.
It's great.
Month supply. So what does that mean? Right now, month supply is 1.8. In a healthy market, it's around 3.5 to 4%.
Oh,
So that means that if every home on the market was sold, it would take 1.8 months to sell those houses.
uh,
So in reality, like I said, 3 to 4 months is probably really where the healthy sweet spot is.
mhm.
We have not seen that in several years at this point. So hopefully, we'll see some more coming down the road here.
Well, I was just looking at those numbers. You see 47 days on market average. That's still pretty short by comparison, but people got used to everything being crazy, so see their house sitting for a month and
Yep,
but it's really kind of average. Like
yep,
things are kind of back to normal.
yep. They really are. They really are. So, and we're starting to see that creep up. I mean, right now, in Monroe County, we have 2,085 listings on the market right now.
Wow.
So that's quite a bit. So is it a seller's market or a buyer's market? Currently, it's still a seller's market, but we're
Mhm.
definitely seeing it shift. So that's when it's coming into really important to understand timing of you're getting home in the market and also timing of the pricing and what the current conditions look like. So pricing too high right now is very dangerous in the shifting market. It's just resulting in your homes sitting on the market even longer and also getting lower offers because people will not want to pay that much. So as opposed to pricing in a lower end, you might have the opportunity for some competition. You might have some opportunities just for quicker offers. And then the quicker offers, the competition will drive asking price and above a lot of times.
Mhm.
Um, the longer it sits, the odds are you're probably not getting an asking price offer if it's going to be sitting on the market for 47 days.
Sure.
They're probably still going to try and give you something a little bit less than that. So that's the key is really not being too overly aggressive at pricing your homes on the higher end right now. Because it probably will result in lower pricing and offers in the end. So
Makes sense. Yeah, they always say it's price or condition or marketing, right?
yep,
And it's not marketing because you're doing your job as far as that goes. So it's either
exactly.
condition or price. And even when it's condition, it's still price.
Yep,
Price kind of solves
yep,
everything there.
yep.
So
So next thing we'll talk about here a little bit is first impressions. First impressions truly matter in a house.
hmm
First impressions, not only when people it used to be always curb appeal, that's your first impression. So any idea what first impressions are right now for buyers?
well, it's probably online. That's the first look that they get at the house, right? And then pulling up to the house because it's not enough to see the house online. You have to kind of see it in person too. So when you do see it in person, what is what does it look like once you pull up, you know?
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
that disconnect can cause issues too in the psychology of the buyer.
Yep, yep. So first impressions really matter, and most buyers make their decision of whether they really are interested in the home in the first 10 seconds when they look at their home online.
Wow.
So if you take a look at that and say, okay, the marketing, the photos, the videos, anything they see online, if those don't present well, they're scrolling right past that house onto the next
That's
one that
right.
looks better.
Right.
Now you don't want to like oversell your home and make the home
Right.
look far better than it really is.
Yeah. It goes both ways,
It goes
right?
both
Yeah.
ways.
You don't want to have, don't have the marketing or have the photos or have the videos, but you really have a great house,
Right.
right? Because then you're selling yourself short, but the opposite is true too.
Exactly. So, but first impressions absolutely matter. Simple, low cost staging ideas. There's things you can do just to make sure your home's set up nicely,
Hmm.
decluttering, maybe adding a few cute little plants or, different
Sure.
things like that. Just kind of helps stage the home and it's very simple and inexpensive because it's definitely the psychology behind making buyers envision themselves living in the home.
Hmm.
So if they walk in the door and they feel it's homey, and I think that's where some of the trends of the colors are going to now.
Yeah, I
People,
think so too.
they're getting away from a lot of these
The cold
cold
gray.
blues.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. Getting into some of those warmer tones, which you probably kind of see in the presentation a little bit better. It gives people that homey feel. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, so if people come in and sit down on the couch right away, they feel comfortable in the house.
That's right.
So.
Now, what do you think about exterior type staging? I say staging, but like home prep, right? Because there's little things that you can do outside too, whether that's kind of power washing the siding or just making sure that the grass is freshly cut or those kind of little things too. Because when they pull up, they have an impression. It's not even when they walk through the door sometimes, it's
Right.
upon seeing the house and pulling up to the driveway.
It really is. I mean, curb appeal is really still very important. I mean,
Mhm.
even if it's just putting out some fresh mulch, trimming up the bushes a little bit, like you said, little things just cut the grass.
Right.
So it looks very nice. Driveways swept, sidewalks are swept, things like that. That's very important because, if people look at it and go, man, this is how they take care of the outside of the house.
Right.
What kind of maintenance do they do to the overall side of the home? So
Sure.
absolutely. So in this example here, a little bit of staging goes a long way. As you can see, on the a picture on the left here, you've got toys, you've got a little bit of extra stuff in there. Not great use of space for where the TV's at and stuff. On the other picture, nicely staged, put a nice little coffee table in there. Um, you can actually see the fireplace in this picture.
Right. Not
Those
hidden.
kinds of things. Yeah.
Such
So,
an accent too to a room
yep.
to hide that.
Yep, so highlighting the important features of the home
Yep.
is really key. So people, like you said, they can kind of walk in and envision themselves in there and not see too much of other people's personal stuff.
That's
So
it.
right price to sell fast. As we
Hmm.
talked, overpricing leads to longer time on market and potential price reductions.
Hmm.
You'll set yourself up for, one, two, three multiple price reductions when you do that. Um, the other piece of it on the flip side is underpricing the home. If you underprice it, I always say you can't really in this market underprice it too much. But if
Hmm.
you do go too low, you may still get over asking price offers, but you'll know that, some people are really pushing offers way up higher because they think that you're underpriced.
Right. And
So,
most people kind of know what they're getting themselves into as far as price goes too, right?
right. So how to price based on comps and market analysis? You take a look at homes in the area and you can really see you've got an example here. Property one located in Monroe. It's priced at 354. It's 2,064 square feet. It's a two-story home built in 2003. It's got original paint, flooring, kitchen, nicer finishes.
Hmm.
But you got property number two when you're looking at the comps in the market there, located in Monroe also, listed for about 10,000 less, similar square footage, but it's a brand new construction two-story home.
Hmm.
So when you're looking at those two homes, in reality is what are the buyers going to gravitate to first?
Lower price, newer construction, right?
Yep. Yep. So they're probably going to look at property two
Hmm.
before they're going to take it property one. Just because they're going to get a brand new home, new
Hmm.
things, priced a little bit less,
Square footage basically the same.
very similar. So that's important to know what other houses are out there, what they're priced in, because more than likely, property one's gonna sit a little bit longer,
Hmm.
than property two.
Hmm.
Next thing up is really mastering the art of negotiations.
Mm.
So being prepared and having a strategy can really help you get the best deal possible for the house. So understanding the buyer's perspective when
Right.
they send over offers, um, using leverage by staying flexible. Don't be closed-minded when someone sends over an offer and says this is what they're looking for,
Hmm.
and it may not meet all the terms and criteria that you were really hoping for, but the art of kind of creating a win-win negotiation
Yes.
so that you get what you're looking for, but then the buyer also feels like they're winning in the situation and not feeling like they lost out and they have to give in because that's the home they really want.
And what I found sometimes is like with buyers specifically, like there's certain things that need to be filled out on the contract. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's how they have to have it, right? Immediate occupancy. It's like, well, they don't really need immediate occupancy, but they have to put something on there, so that's what they put. And then the seller gets the offer. I can't believe they want immediate occupancy. I'm so offended by that. Well, it didn't really matter to them to begin with. So that's that art, like you were talking about, like finding out what's important to them and making it a win-win for
Exactly,
everybody.
exactly. Because there are several negotiating points in a contract,
Mm,
and it's not always, and we see this a lot recently, it's not always the highest offer that's important to the seller.
that's true.
A lot of times we'll get offers that they may take the middle priced offer. It might be for various reasons. It could be they feel like the highest offer was too high and that will run into appraisal issues.
That's true. Yep.
We see that a lot. It could be that, the buyers wanted to give them 60 days to stay in their home, and that was important because the sellers still need a place to go. Or that they're planning on moving in with somebody, and if they can prolong that a little bit longer, maybe
Right.
that was more important to them. So highest is not always best.
Hmm.
And that's why when you see highest and best, the sellers look at what really is in the best terms for them.
Hmm.
So handling multiple offers and counter offers, there's definitely an art and strategy to do that. I like to kind of lay everything out in a nice little spreadsheet. When we do get multiple offers, kind of lays out the terms of each one of the offers and kind of line items them all so you can compare them apples to apples to really see what the true bottom line is. Because
Right.
sometimes high numbers, but then they want concessions
Yep.
and they have a lot of other things in there that built in that the net to the seller, it could be commissions, it could be concessions, there could be several different things in
Home
there.
warranty, tax proration. Yeah, I mean, all
Exactly.
kinds of stuff that can influence beyond just the number on the sale price line.
Yep.
Yeah.
So by the time you put all that in a spreadsheet and you start totaling that up, what is really the best offer could be the lowest offer you received
Right.
because they didn't have all the extras in there that they needed or wanted. Get your home seen by the right buyers. So what does that mean? That means we have to find the right buyers for your home, how you market it, what's your marketing strategy. Is your home good for first-time home buyers?
Right.
Is your home a little bit larger home that's great for, move-up buyers, people that are growing their families, things like that. So there's different avenues, different places that we would market the homes to. Um, online listings, sorry, professional photos, virtual tours are all very important to get everyone kind of on board and visualize and understand what the home has to offer. And then of course, social media and email marketing campaigns are important as well to make sure we get it out to everybody. And open houses, they do help.
Hmm.
They get
Sure.
traffic in there. It's a great marketing tool to be
Yep.
able to create more awareness
Yep.
with the houses. So,
Casting a wide net and not making any assumptions there is huge too, because even if it's not for a particular person, maybe they know somebody,
yep,
right?
yep.
And people like to talk about these things.
Exactly. So let's recap a little bit on some of the key strategies. Now that we've covered them all, let's talk a little bit more on how to move forward and apply them. So we've got market knowledge, understanding in how our home compares to what's out there, understanding the current market conditions, understanding staging and why it's important to make sure our home presents itself in the best light it can. knowing how we need to really price our home to really make sure that we get the best value out of it, properly negotiating and truly getting the marketing out there to expose everybody possible. So if you're ready to sell your home, give us a call. We'd love to set up an appointment. You can go to our website, 123soldteam.com. Right at the top of the page says schedule a consultation. You can set up appointment to meet with us, sit down, talk about, how we can certainly help you get through your home and get it listed.